Well, it's David Moyes' first game as we're here on Talking Good Game to discuss Watford against West Ham United. Are we going to see the Moyes of Everton, or are we going to see the Moyes of Sunderland, or are we going to see a hybrid of the two, or maybe a completely different Moyes as this reign starts? Gonzo, what's your thoughts on Watford?
Well, bearing in mind it's just the two of us for this evening's preview, I thought I'd better do a bit of swatting up, because normally I sit here and say, sorry, I don't know anything about them, and we leave it to Tom or Charlie or somebody. But I clicked open that one football app that you sent me. I've swatted up. Gomez has been injured. He might be returning. Big keeper for them. The last one was a bit of a catastrophe, the last keeper they have. So if Gomez doesn't play, we might be quids in on that one. There's a fitness test on Pereira now. He's a player that I do know and remember him. He played very, very well at ours last season, if you remember. I think I might have got him from Juventus, possibly, actually. Really good. He's not been in the goals like he was when he first joined last season, but he's a very, very good player, so that would be a big miss for them. But it looks like Richarlison's playing, who seems to be their key man, and probably someone that ain't going to be at Watford for much longer. But the big news, and everyone knows this, you don't need to look at that for this, is that their manager is going to have his head turned. So I'm hoping that the squad won't quite be... They will be worried. They're going to be worried that they're losing their manager, and I'm hoping their manager's looking at Everton and not concentrating on Watford.
If you were Marco Silva, Gonzo, what would you be doing?
I think I'd be trying to be professional, and I'm sure he is trying to be professional. But in the same way, he's almost got to see it out. So, you know, so I'm a plumber or whatever. If someone's, you know, giving me a much more luxurious job, and I know I've got 3 more weeks left as a plumber, and then, you know, I'm going to be, I don't know, in 3 weeks managing my own plumbing firm from the comfort of a desk, driving a Rolls Royce around or whatever. Am I going to be motivated for these last 3 weeks of climbing around in a loft? I'm not quite so sure. So as I would try, but really you're going to be looking forward to the next job, and that's what I think he's going to be doing.
Well, who would you choose, though? Would you choose Watford or Everton?
I would choose Everton, I think. Watford... There's no point being loyal to Watford. Watford aren't loyal to any manager. Watford have ditched their manager each and every season, and there's actually no evidence to suggest that Watford will keep Silva. They dumped the one last season. They dumped Flores before. I thought it did a good job. I think he might have got them to a cup final or something, if memory serves me correctly. They just dump manager after manager after manager, a fresh one every season. They are not a club that is loyal to their managers, so they can't demand loyalty from their manager towards them. And Everton have got big bucks. They'll be able to spend money, Everton. So if I was him, I'd move.
I find the Watford project, if you want to call it that, interesting, because they're the complete polar opposite to us in terms of managerial. They've got a squad, and they try and find the manager to fit the squad, and then the manager moves, but the squad stays the same. Next manager comes in and deals with it, and that's fine. West Ham are the polar opposite. West Ham go get a manager and sort of you build a squad, and if that manager goes, well, the next one comes in, he can completely redo the squad over, you know. Bilic's style of play is different to David Moyes', but yeah, they've got the same squad to work with, and it doesn't really make sense. But like you said, there is a lack of loyalty to managers. There is a revolving door at Watford, but they play good football. I've enjoyed watching Watford this season, actually. They are 9th in the league. They've only won 1 at home all season. However, they do have a few injuries, as Gonzo said. A lot of fitness doubts as well, including Cabasel and the centre-backs. But Gonzo, Watford, right now, they're earning a lot of plaudits. Are they today, are they in potentially a better prospect, if you like, than West Ham?
Oh, for sure. I mean, from everything that we've just said about how frequently they change managers, they are more stable than us at the moment. They are a more stable club. I think they are. I think the owners of Watford actually own quite a few clubs. I think they might own Udinese. I think they might own Granada, possibly. They've got quite a big portfolio. And they seem to have a set way of doing things and a business model which they stick to. And whilst it might not be the best way to run a club, it is very consistent. You know what you're getting. They don't really, apart from manager aside, they don't really chop and change. So I think in terms of stability as a club, they're probably looking a little bit more of a steady ship than we are.
If there was 2 players I could bring to West Ham in January, one of them is at Watford. Gonzo already mentioned him, Richarlison. The Brazilian 20-year-old that plays on the left wing. He has been fouled the most in the Premier League. So Zabaleta he's got a task on his job, Zabaleta, who's picked up the most bookings in the Premier League so far this season and conceded 2 penalties. Richarlison's also had the second most shots in the Premier League, only behind Harry Kane. So he's not afraid to pull the trigger outside or inside the box. And he's also done the 3rd most dribbles. So Pablo Zabaleta, Brazil versus Argentina. He's got a job on his hands at right back for West Ham. If you want to know more about the Watford perspective, there's plenty of ways from Hammers Chat now. Normally you get the Charlie's Q&A, which there is one. He's done a Q&A with our well-informed Watford fans, very informative show, so go check that out. Hammers Chat have now got a blogging page. The link is in the description below. There's been a few blogs up already. There's been a couple of previews for this one, and there's also been a sort of a look at Watford from a tactical analysis and statistical perspective as well. So do check out, support the guys. We've got a lot of content coming. It's completely new for us, so check out. But on to West Ham. One thing at Watford do have a weakness still, Gonzo. They've conceded the most headed goals in the Premier League. We're expecting Andy Carroll. Is this the right game for Andy Carroll? He's not really been at the top of his game so far this season.
Well, I hope so, because I've got a bet on him. I've got a bet on him scoring against Watford. A lot of the players, West Ham players, have not been fit. So that's been the narrative of the last few weeks, has been run by the club and run by everybody else, and the players have been saying so themselves. Andy Carroll has not been fit, but he's also not been injured, and that's quite a big thing. So we've had him back from injury, but not at full fitness. A full fit Andy Carroll and a very, very motivated Andy Carroll could be quite a destructive beast as far as West Ham are concerned, and something for the other team to fear. So I wouldn't be surprised if Moyes has got him up for this. I also don't think he's got an awful lot of choices, and of course we discussed in our cup of tea last week, Moyes has got form for having a big guys. We've seen with Duncan Ferguson and lots of others we mentioned. So yeah, I think he's going to play a big part.
Yeah, I think Carroll will be starting on Sunday. Hernandez is out for a couple of weeks, as confirmed by David Moyes in his press conference earlier today. Tony Martinez started for West Ham under-23s tonight, Friday, at the London Stadium. And Sacco only got back, well, he missed his flight, got messed up, so he's getting into the country tomorrow, Saturday. So it does look like Andy Carroll's obvious choice, because he's the only striker that Moyes has been able to work with, apart from Martinez. The formation, though, Gonzo, 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, what one would you go for, and what one do you think Moyes will go for?
I don't know. Obviously, we've got no evidence yet for Moyes, so I would imagine the latter, the 4-2-3-1. So I think you'll probably find that certainly Obiang and I just wonder if he's going to try and squeeze Obiang, Kiate and Noble in there and go very, very defensive, however that sort of shapes up. And maybe we see Ayew wide one side and Lanzini wide the other side, because you mentioned Sacco's just got off the plane. He's not trained. I don't believe and Arnautovic has had one training session yet either. So I think that's really going to dictate. And as we said before, he likes his wingers. We discussed it in a cup of tea with Pinar and people like that. They do sort of tuck in. So he's not going to have a problem with Lanzini and Ayew, who are quite happy to drift into the middle, because he'll like his width from the fullback. So yeah, however that works out, with maybe Lanzini just behind Carroll. Sorry, not Lanzini, just behind Carroll. How is that working out? What have I got? So I'm missing one player. Well,
if you're going 4-2-3-1, I assume you're going to have to put in Arnautovic or curveball Masuaku.
Yeah, do you know what? That's interesting, actually. What is he going to do? I mean, we don't know. We're guessing here. Arnautovic just steps off the plane, and he's not had a chance to impress him in training. Can he play him? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, I think he'll go 4-3-3. I think he's going to do what you said, squeeze Obiang, Noble and Kiati in there, play it really safe, and let Lanzini and Ayew have a bit more freedom than they would if they had 3 in behind Carroll. Only have 2, so they've got a little bit more freedom. I think Moyes is key. It's being at Everton, it was at Man U, hence why he splashed 30 million on a left back as his fullbacks. And I think Creswell and Zabaleta have got a huge part to play under David Moyes. I think Kiati could be interesting if he does go 4-3-3. I think he's going to have 2 of them sitting, and one of them's going to have to get up and down. I do wonder if you have Noble and Obiang sitting and let Kiati use his legs and get up pace, which could, because that also throws in, we know Moyes likes crosses, so get Kiati in the box with Andy Carroll and runner. That's how Fellaini was successful. That's how Tim Cahill was successful under David Moyes. The late runner in the box that's good in the air, and that's what Chet Kiati is. So I do wonder if he's going to use Kiati to get those late runs in. He's got to try something. But Kiati's another one, I think. He was playing for Senegal, so he would have been late back as well. So he's struggling, David Moyes. The only dilemma I think he's got is the centre backs, to be honest. He's got Collins, who's been back for a week or so. He's got Declan Rice, Ogbonna, and then Winston Reid, who got back in the country today, but he's not trained yet. However, Winston Reid has done this quite often. He's been playing for New Zealand, flown over, golfer played for West Ham. Difference playing on Sunday, not Saturday. But who would you play centre back then? You've got Ginge, who's been out for a while, Rice, Ogbonna, and Reid, who's been playing for New Zealand at the early hours of Thursday morning.
Well, I don't know, because I don't claim to be an expert even on England, never mind international football, but hasn't Reid done a bit more than just go to New Zealand? Haven't New Zealand played into South America as well or something?
Yeah,
right, I mean,
he's travelled out.
Okay, I mean, that's slightly different. That's just not a 17-hour flight. That's days of travelling. That's travelling around the world. I'm not sure I would risk him. I know what you're saying. He's normally done it, but if he's travelled to, I mean, if you're talking about 3 continents, I don't know. I think you'd have to leave him out for this one, to be honest with you. Maybe we'll go with Rice. Will be very, very interesting to see. Again, we're just guessing. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go with trusty old Collins though, and play him in there at some point. He's defensive manager, Moyes. He likes his defenders. Will he sort of look at Ogbonna with a little bit of mistrust? You can imagine that Ogbonna, maybe it's someone like Moyes, has got a mistake in him. So better the devil you know than devil you don't. A knackered, jet-lagged Winston Reid is be better than Ogbonna. In Moyes' mind, he may well be. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I'd probably play Collins and Rice for this one as well. Moyes has been... It's said that Moyes has been looking at our game so far this season. It's said that Moyes has even spoken to Slaven Bilic about what went wrong, etc. And if he's done both of those, I can't imagine Ogbonna comes out on it very highly. So I do think. Yeah. But the thing is, though, he's been working with Moyes for 2 weeks, though. So is Rice. That's what they've got in their locker ahead of Reid. And it depends when Collins started training properly, I suppose. So they might have an advantage on that one. Are you confident for this one? I mean, Watford, as good a reputation as they've got, they've only won 1 at home. They've lost their last 3. It is away from home, which I think helps us, having away from the London Stadium atmosphere. Are you confident?
I'm really confident, I've got to say. Really, really confident. And I've got no evidence. That's the thing, but it's just a feeling. And something Noble said in the last couple of days about the youngsters coming in. And he said when the youngsters came in, it gave everyone a kick up the backside, but not just for the obvious thing. He said the manager had to draft him in, but the youngsters were up for it, and they were running around at 1,000 mile an hour trying to impress the new manager, thinking this is our chance. I'd been under the impression that the youngsters weren't. Well, I knew they were at Chadwell Heath a lot, but I thought they went to Rush Green a lot more than they did. What's come out in the wash is that this was a really special experience for them to go to Rush Green. They don't do it very often. So they've gone up there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They're playing with the new coach in the main training ground, the new facilities, with a lot of the first-team players that weren't on international duty. And they're there with a point to prove. And what Noble said was they were running around so hard, putting in so many miles, it forced the senior players to think, crikey, look at this energetic lot. We need to pull ourselves up to their standard. And he said, even for nothing else, that's been a very, very good thing. All the snippets I hear coming out, I don't think that's spin. I think that's actually happened. So I do think we're going to get a fitter, more motivated team. And I think they're going to be organised. I think with that in mind, you put it with the uncertainty of Watford and the managerial situation. I'm going to do a prediction in a bit, but I've bet on us to win, certainly. Yeah,
I'm reasonably confident as well. Everything's pointing in our direction here. Watford are not in the greatest of form. They've got a lot of injuries. We have as well. I mean, every Premier League club's in the same situation right now where they've had players away on international duty and it's been hard to prepare. I actually think if you could pick one fixture for David Moyes, this fixture would probably have made your shortlist anyway. Away to Watford, that would have probably made your shortlist. Looking at the form, you'd have thought, oh, I wouldn't mind that one actually. And the players that we do have, you have to remember before the international break, while he's got a point to prove though. His new birth, his newborn son, Wolf 9, the thing is, though, that can motivate someone like that. That can really give someone a completely different edge of life. He's called out the fans now. He's got a point to prove. He's got to go out there and perform. You can't just call out the fans and not turn up. He's got to turn up. But the people behind him, Lanzini and Ayew, were in fine form before an international break. So I'm actually reasonably confident for this one. Betway, we do a charity bet with Betway every week. And this one, we're trying to play what we describe as safe, and that is West Ham double chance. So basically, West Ham to draw or win. Under 3.5 goals. So as long as there's 3 goals in the game, so that covers the 2-1. I'm a bit worried. I'm hopeful we might win 2-1. Under 4.5 cards, or 45 booking points, sorry. Andre Mariner's ref, he doesn't hand out much cards. Touchwood and all that. Zabaleta's probably gets sent off against Richarlison. And finally, under 12.5 corners. Neither side tends to get a lot of corners. 72 for that one. So 225 quid to charity if that bet wins. If you want to get a load of that, the link's in the description below. Gonzo, we're both sitting here reasonably confident. Care to give me a score prediction?
Yeah, I will do. I mean, you've gone safe on that bet, and I don't like that bet, actually. I think that's possibly got as good a chance as any that you've done so far. But on my own personal bet, and my own personal account on my mobile phone, I've gone a little bit more adventurous than that. I've actually been quite bold. I mean, I've got 35-1 or something on it. I went 2-0 to West Ham with Andy Carroll to score. I think I went any time. What did the first score? Whatever, one of them anyway. And that's my score prediction. I think we'll win 2-0.
I'm going for 2 goals as well, but I'm going for 1-1. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad result, to be honest. I'll take a draw. Would you take a draw right now?
No.
Would you be happy Sunday with a point?
So I wouldn't be happy. I just think we can win. I wouldn't take a draw because I think we can win it.
Well, I would be happy with that point. I think it's a tough place to go. As much as I just sort of said this is a good fixture, I think a point's good for David Moyes. I think it's important to go to London Stadium on Friday without a defeat. I think a defeat, all those people... Let's be realistic, disappointment wasn't greeted with everybody waving flags and scars and greeting them at the London Stadium. There was a lot of negativity, a lot of bit of cautiousness from the fans with disappointment. The defeat was sort of startle that. Let's get it all up again. I just think if he can get to the London Stadium without getting beat against Watford, I think there'll be a good atmosphere on next Friday night. But anyway, that's it from us. If you enjoyed the preview, drop a like on it. Let us know what team you want to see. I think it picks itself, to be honest. I'm quite confident between us would pick 9 of the 11 at least anyway. Put the 11 below. Also, give us your score predictions and what you think will happen if you'll be happy with a point as well. But Gonzo, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
That's goodbye from me. Make sure you check out the blogs. The link is in the description below. Go to hammerschat.com. Click on blogs. There's 4 or 5 of them up there as well. So have a read of them. They're quite good, and there's more coming tomorrow as well. But thank you very much for joining us, and we'll catch you on Sunday.